Have you ever felt so stressed that it just seemed like your body was withering away into the abyss? That was me for like 3 months, and it completely unbalanced my hormones. Hello, girlies. If you're new here, welcome. If you're fam, then welcome back. I'm Mary Lee. I'm a certified menstrual coach. And when it comes to your cycle, I'm here to help you get it together. And the reality is, we all will fall off sometimes. We will have our days, our weeks, our months when life is just lifing. So it's never really about how to avoid the twists and turns because it's a guarantee that they're always going to be there. It's more about what you learn throughout the journey and how quickly you bounce back. I have been in survival mode for the past 3 months and it has been absolutely brutal. But I am still really proud of how I managed to come out of that situation and how I am able to use it to elevate my life and hopefully elevate your life too, like learn from my mistakes. Pain reveals purpose. And I thoroughly believe that it was good for me to go through all of this so that way I could be here with you today to break it down for my girlies who are about to be in similar boats. So, today I'm going to fill you in on exactly what is survival mode, how did I get there, what did it do to me? And then looking back, like things I would have done differently. And then in the next episode, I'm going to fill you in on how we actually got out of the mud. So, what exactly is survival mode? Survival mode is pretty much a perpetual state of stress to the point where your body is like, we can't focus on doing any of those other things that are not 100% necessary for us to be alive. So it's like we need to do whatever we can to survive, not thrive. We're not thriving right now. And what exactly does your body mean by that? The best way I could kind of explain it is to like give an example where your body's like naturally you're supposed to make melatonin when it starts getting time to like wind down and go to bed. Being in survival mode looks like your body saying, we can't make melatonin. We can't focus on that. We need cortisol. We need to be alert. We need to be awake. Something's going to come get you. Or your body's like, oh, we can't properly digest this food. I don't have time to sort through all of these, things that you've put in me, the nutrients, and separate the good from the bad and properly disperse them so we have like sustainable energy. We don't have time for that. That takes too much time. It takes too much effort. It's going in and going out. Okay. We need quick fuel. We need quick energy because something's going to get you. It's like your body is always on alert, it's always on 10 because it's trying to do what's best for you. It's trying to protect you. And honestly, like we talk about survival mode like it's a bad thing, but it is your body's like number one defense mechanism to making sure that you survive. So, like, thanks. you know, like I appreciate that my body is doing what it's supposed to in those moments. But the problem is that your body is unable to identify or differentiate between like the different kinds of stress. Like there's stress that will very much kill you. Like if there is a tiger chasing you, girl, like yeah, he might go and get you. He might eat you. So you need that cortisol, you need that adrenaline to power through and pump through those legs so that you can run away. But looking at like overworking and everything that's going on in your life, your body is still processing that like it's a tiger out to get you. And so when you're just going through the motions every single day in this perpetual state of stress, you are essentially locking your body out of doing all of the other things necessary for you to live your life to the fullest. And that's exactly what happened to me. So, how exactly did I get to this point, right? Let me tell you a story. So it pretty much all started in July uh, of 2025. It's October as I'm recording this. And it started with crunch at work. And so, for context, for those that don't know, I like to say that in my 5 to 9, I'm a menstrual coach, but my 9 to 5, I work in animation and production management. And what that means is that I manage the artist and their workloads, and I help in that way. So people are always like, "Oh, you work in animation? Are you an animator?" No, we manage them. We make sure they get their stuff in on time. We make sure that they know where their shots are going. We're dealing with production schedules. We're dealing with intercommunication between all of the other departments, and we switch departments like every show. So it's a very flexible, high intensity, um, demanding position, but it's really fun. It's a dream job. I love working at Disney. I always wanted to. So I'm very proud of that. In the process of making animated films, our release dates are pretty much always Thanksgiving. Like that's like our big, you know, time slot. So we're always like reaching for that release date. And unfortunately, the past couple of years, our schedules have just been getting a lot more compressed. And so the film that we were working on this year was Zootopia 2. And that schedule was pretty tight. It was super tight. But every year we do have crunch where it's like over the summer, we're, working really hard hours, really doing everything that we can to make sure that we finish everything, get everything across the finish line. And depending on what department you're in, your crunch may be at a different time. Like if you're, further ahead in the pipeline, your crunch might be sooner versus if you're at the end of the pipeline in lighting, which I was in lighting on this film at the pretty much the very end. That crunch is all the way at the end and also the closest to the release date. And you are really pushing it because you pretty much need everyone else's work to be done before you can start hitting the things that you need to accomplish and get your shots approved. But I had a good system. I was like, okay, the hours are picking up, the days are getting longer. I am making sure that I'm eating well. I'm like sleeping. I'm still getting up and going to the gym. Cool. We have this balance. It's a little tough, but I'm getting there, right? And also, crunch has just started. So I had just implemented the system. I'm like, okay, this is good, right? I get into a car accident. And then everything just kind of hits the fan because I am completely stressed from just being in the accident. My car is messed up. I need to get this fixed. I'm injured. I can't work out anymore because I have to recover. And that was also a really great outlet for me and motivation to also like continue waking up early and having my rhythm and being intentional with the start of my day. So the accident cost me, I feel like, a lot of my resources that I was using for my sanity to keep me going through everything. And then also, like, I was just kind of depressed, I was just like, how did we get here? And I was very much in a victim mentality, like, oh, woe is me. Like, how is this happening to me? Like, why did I get into this accident? Like, why did this person hit me? Why this? Why that? Just like me, just in this very sad, depressing state. And I was working from home for like 2 or 3 weeks. And it was kind of hard to find happiness in that area. And I definitely did. I immediately went straight to God and I was just like, gratitude. Okay, I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful that I can just get my car fixed. I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to work from home. I'm grateful for all of this. Right. And so I was really trying to actively counteract all of the feelings that I was feeling with gratitude. But that's effort. It's a lot of work and it's mentally exhausting. Basically fighting with your flesh all the time. Like this was like an intimate battle of spirit and flesh just all happening. And that takes a lot out of you. And then, I would end up kind of eating my feelings a little bit and not eating the healthiest because like I'm home anyway. I'll just walk and go get some fries or whatever, just like something to ease my bruised ego a little bit, right? Like I did have some bruising in my bicep, but I also had bruising in my ego, right? And so when it got to the point that I was able to go back into the office, um, and being at home was good for me, like in that restful period, because like I was able to recover. And towards the end of that, I did start to kind of like come back into my like, okay, my zen. And then going back into the office, it was like we were fully in the thick of it now. When I say like hours were up, we were up. Okay. I'm getting to the office early. I'm leaving super late. And then also, when you're working from home, sure, you can be in meetings and stuff, but it's different being on Zoom versus like in the building. Like I was having, in constant meetings, talking to people all of the time, people talking to me in the hallways, like, and I'm a social girly, but like everyone talking all the time. Ooh, so much going on, right? Like what's happening? Like the social exhaustion alone was like whiplash after like being home for like 3 weeks. And on top of that, with like the long, long hours, I wasn't really having a lot of time to dedicate to cooking when I came home. So it was a lot of takeout that my husband and I were eating that really just wasn't that good for us. And I'm getting home late, we're eating late. And then because I haven't like seen my husband all day, we're trying to, maximize any amount of time that we have together. So then we're staying up later trying to watch some anime together or whatever to just enjoy being in each other's company for a little bit before we have to go back to sleep and then separate. And that really allowed for our sleep to suffer, my husband's as well, because we would go to bed super, super late and then still be having to wake up super early just to go to work. And it was like a vicious cycle, to be honest. And it was all just kind of like this recipe for disaster. And on top of this, again, I still am unable to work out. Like I was going to physical therapy first like 3 times a week, then twice a week. I'm finally at the point where I'm going once a week now, but like I could not like work out as like my outlet as well. And so that was just like really hindering to my mental state. Everything just kind of compiled one after the other. And then also something to consider was that there is like so much free food at the studio. Not good food, mind you. Like it's never the healthy stuff, right? It's like crumble cookie, it's donuts, and it's all for like morale boost, sure, but like guys, make it so hard. It makes it so hard. So to recap, I am working like 55 to 60 hours a week minimum. I am in constant meetings all of the time, talking to everybody all of the time. There's so much work that needs to be done. I can't work out. I'm not eating healthy. There's also a whole bunch of like really tempting, unhealthy foods around me all the time. And my sleep is terrible. Not to mention, I definitely abused matcha as like caffeine hits to kind of get me through the day and also morale boosts as well. Guys, it was so tough. It was super tough. Now, all of that combined, let's talk about what it did to me. So, I'm going to break it up into two different parts, like what it did to me physically and what it did to me emotionally. Physically, I felt like just blah. In the most eloquent way that I could say that, I just felt so blah. And then I would look in the mirror and I've got like bags under my eyes, like hello cortisol and inflammation. That's what that is. And then on top of, like the not sleeping and like the puffiness, it was just like not cute. And even right now, like I still feel like I am trying to rejuvenate and recover myself and my skin from that time period. I'm definitely not in survival mode anymore, but I am still trying to remedy the consequences, right? So I'm like, my eye cream, like I was like, who is she? I keep saying that Zootopia 2 aged me. My husband's like, no, it didn't. We love him for that. But I definitely see the physical ramifications like in my face, under my eye area of, just some not great signs of stress there. And that like super deep bone in exhaustion, that fatigue is all pretty much thanks to the prolonged amount of time that cortisol was kind of running everything. Like being in survival mode, your body is trying to keep you alert, but the longer amount of time that you're stuck in that, it really does burn you out. Like you are burning out your adrenals, your thyroid is slowing down, and then suddenly, even simple tasks are taking the wind out of you. And then I typically would feel super energized and happy and upbeat and alert during like follicular ovulation. But even in those times, I was still like kicking buckets, okay? And honestly, it's because my estrogen could not rise properly. Estrogen is what gives you that glow, that energy, that confidence when you're hitting those phases. But mine was tapped out because I was too busy trying to survive instead of thrive. And so because I was focused on that, instead of feeling like fun and flirty, I felt like a zombie in lip gloss. And then the biggest effect that it had on me physically, girly pop in August. Ah! My period in August, I it was the absolute worst period I have ever had since being on this whole journey of, living intentionally with my hormones. Oh my goodness gracious. And I'm so proud to say that like I had not had a painful period in like over the past like 2 years that I've been doing this. But baby girl, all that drama and kerflama in July going into August, baby, that period was diabolical, okay? My prostaglandins were through the roof. It was excruciating. When cortisol stays high, progesterone, low, 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 low. And that is the hormone that is supposed to keep you calm and chill. My dangerously low progesterone, on top of like stress, all of that is just a recipe for massive inflammation and just pain, all pain. And you're probably wondering, how well is that the only reason that you knew your progesterone was low? Also, I this is a little like, I don't want to say TMI, but there's never there's never a thing here because this is our safe space. This is a safe space for these things. So when you're going into your luteal phase and you start making progesterone, and you know how like in ovulation follicular your cervical mucus is more apparent there, how you know that you're starting to make progesterone is when that mucus starts to dry up. Progesterone is what's drying up that mucus. My mucus was not drying up as quickly as it should have been as I was in my luteal phase. And that was very telling. That I was like, "Ooh, baby girl, why am I not dry yet?" This is usually a dry day. And this is why it's so important for you to track your cycle, guys, because if you know that like day 17, 18, 19, like you're having like those are your typical like, okay, mucus is completely gone by then, it's dry, or it's like, you know, definitely like a thicker consistency, like it's getting to that point. When things shift and when things change, if you're tracking, you will for sure be able to know what is and what is not normal for your body. Because I was not supposed to still be seeing mucus as late as I was into my luteal. And that's how I for sure knew. I was like, ooh, my progesterone is shot. That sucks. And so my hormones were freaking out. I was cramping like crazy. My cramps were a hormonal tantrum, literally. And then we get to, how did all of this affect me emotionally? As if the physical wasn't enough. Let's talk about our feelings. I was anxious out of my mind. I was having such bad like crash outs. Like I was having anxiety attacks like pretty regularly. And when I say pretty regularly, I would say like probably 2 to 3 times a month, which was definitely not normal for me at all. So that was already super concerning. I was just super overwhelmed. Why were we having those anxiety attacks? Because I was feeling all of this guilt for not being able to, be the wife that I want to be. I'm not able to clean as much. I'm not able to really cook. Like I just don't have the energy in me to do those things that I would typically be doing, and that made me feel like I was failing my husband. And of course, he never once thought that I was. He was always super supportive and affirmative to me. It was just me and my own sad little mind games just clouding my peace, essentially. And then I was also feeling guilty because, people want to hang out, they want to talk, they want to do this, they want to do that. Like, are you going to church? Like, when can I see you? Do you have plans? I'm tired. I'm tired. And of course, like, real true friends understood that and they knew that and they didn't fault me for that. But I still harbored guilt for like sheltering myself away and trying to protect my peace instead of like being in everybody's faces every 5 minutes. And again, I'm a very social person. So when I removed myself from society, basically, everyone was like, what? Where did she go? Like, what's happening? And I get it. And I appreciate like the concern and the love. But I, and I would communicate to them like, hey, like, we'll hang out, we'll find time like after the show. I just have a lot going on right now. And a lot of people knew and understood that, but I was still just feeling like a bad friend in that retrospect. And then I felt a ton of shame. I'm the menstrual coach. How could I have not have planned better? How did I let myself get to this point? How did we get here? You're supposed to be the one implementing and knowing these systems. How did we get to this point, Tamara? The shame was eating me alive. I was like, what's happening? And then you also wrap that up with just a little bit of imposter syndrome. And then bada bing, bada boom. It's like the enemy is like having a field day right now. The enemy wants to see me down bad. The enemy wants to see me wrapped up in my shame. The enemy wants to see me lost and consumed in my guilt. And I was for a little bit. And then the Lord was like, get your butt up, girl. You got things to do, essentially. Sorry if that was loud. I said that straight into the mic, but a little louder for the people in the back, because that is not the end of the story. That is not the end of the story. There are for sure things that I could have done better. Yes, 100%. I have learned that, and I'm taking that into my next journey. Because guess what? It's going to get even more tough. It's going to get even more challenging. There's going to be more crunches, more things going on, more exasperated things going on in my life that I'm going to need to figure out how to balance in. So thank God that I went through this situation. Thank God that I'm here. And now I can sit here and learn from my pain. Thank God that you're here and you can learn from my pain. This is why we do this. This is why we have the trials and the tribulations, because there is always going to be a message in the mess. I don't know why I feel like I had to come on here and preach today. I didn't expect that. But here we are. Here we are. And so I'll wrap up with this and my like kind of like emotional takeaways of what I really want you to take away from this and kind of like what I took away from this. I for sure could have created better systems. I needed to do that beforehand. I was not prepared. And then when everything hit the fan, instead of holding to my faith and my laurels, I allowed anxiety and fear to run the show. I was always constantly like, on edge of like, what if I don't get this shot out on time? What if it doesn't get approved? What if we don't make it to this deadline? What if? And so I was actually listening to a sermon from Pastor Lonell at 2819 church in Atlanta. I'm not from Atlanta. I've never been to this church. I'm from Florida, as you know, and I live in California now. So why I felt compelled to watch this sermon this morning, I don't know. But I'm convinced that it was because I needed to be in this moment right now, expelling this information. And the sermon was basically about making an idol out of anxiety. And at the very end, the whole sermon was bars, okay? But at the very end, This man comes in with this heat talking about anxiety says, what if? Faith says, even if. When I tell you, I felt that in my soul. Oh my God. Faith says, even if. That's what I missed in those moments. I was only focused on the what if, the what if, the what if. I needed the even if. Even if we don't make this deadline, God got me. I'm going to be okay. Even if I can't go into the gym and lift those weights, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to take a walk instead. And that's really what I should have been doing, y'all. I don't understand why I did not create another outlet. Like, I was like, I can't work out. No, I can't go to the gym. So I just can't do anything at all. Girl, no. What lie was I allowing to fuel my spirit? I could have been taking walks. I could have just been outside in nature. My life did not have to stop because I got into an accident. I did not have to start feeling like the world was against me because a bad thing happened. In that, honestly, looking back, y'all, I was roaming in the forest for 40 years. 3 months is not 40 years. Don't get me wrong. But like the analogy that I'm trying to make here is that instead of trusting in God's favor because I know that he has given it to me consistently, I let fear and anxiety run the show and I got stuck in survival mode. When Jesus was literally there with me the entire time, God had just parted the sea for me. He was having manna fall down from the sky. I forgot about all of the bounty and the blessings that he was bestowing upon to me because of this little setback. When honestly, we all know that like the trials and tribulations are a necessity. They're for the plot. How do I test my faith without this? How do I test my strength without this? How do I test my endurance without this? What problems are you going through in your life right now that you're just sitting here thinking, woe is me, woe is we? Like, what are you learning from this? There is purpose in the pain. There's purpose in the pain. I learned so much about my body through this experience. I really did. And I truly believe that this experience is definitely helping me become a better coach, a better helper to someone who is going to unbalance their hormones in the future. Things I had things I would have done differently. I got on a tangent. I would have made systems. I would have made sure that I was taking walks or having any other kind of way to have a physical outlet to relieve my stress and anxieties and fears because working out really does that. And when I'm not working out, I feel helpless and powerless and I feel less than. I could have avoided all of those misguided feelings by just simply going on walks. Instead of focusing on the what ifs, the what ifs, the what ifs, I would have reframed those structured thoughts and said, even if. I wouldn't say that I would not have the thoughts. The thoughts will be there. I'm not telling you to just not, think bad things. Catch the bad thing, catch that thought, address it, tackle it head on, counter it. What if I don't get this job? Even if you don't get the job, God still got you. You're going to be okay. You're going to thrive. Ooh, honestly, the what if is all survival. It's all about survival. But the even if is rooted in thriving. Wow. Not me having realizations right now. Thank you, God, the clarity. What else would I have done differently? I would have made sure that I was prioritizing healthy food choices over everything, over everything. Even if I'm going to eat out, get a healthier thing to eat out. There are options. I don't know where you are, but I'm in LA. Well, technically I'm in Burbank, but LA area, and there are definitely healthy fast food options. Choose those. If you have no other choice and you have to eat out, choose the healthier option. Don't just go to the fried food because it'll make you feel good in the moment. You're not going to feel good later. Ooh, I'm really talking to myself right now. The fried food is not going to actually make you feel good later. It's not. Do you want to choose to feel good now and feel like crap later? Or do you want to choose to feel okay now and feel even better later? Because the healthy food is not going to make you feel like crap in the moment. You might not be as thrilled about it. It's okay, but then you're going to feel amazing later. The delayed gratification, huge. I would have focused on that. And I definitely would have allowed myself to take the time that I needed without feeling responsible for other people's feelings, because that's where the guilt comes from, and projecting people's feelings. I was thinking that, oh, my husband's upset with me. He was not upset with me. This man was like just happy that his wife was home. I was thinking my friends are mad at me. They hate me because I can't see them. No one was thinking that. I was literally feeding myself little bits of propaganda to make myself feel bad and then to further regress into this victim mentality. None of that was necessary. It was a byproduct of my surroundings and the pressures that I was feeling, and honestly, just a lack of faith, to be 100% honest. I would have countered all of that. And honestly, I would love to really sit down and just create a game plan. Honestly, that'd be a really fun kind of episode to go into, is like me looking at this whole situation again as I'm going to next year, because I just recently found out that I'm going to be managing in the anim department on the film that comes out next year, Hexed. And yeah, for those who don't fully understand the pipelines of animation and whatnot, animation and lighting are two uh, very high intensity departments, and it's going to be a lot. And we thought that Zootopia schedule was wild. It's gonna be a fight to the finish for next year as well. And I am going to be in the crunch again. So let's put a pin in this and let's really jump into that, like next year as I'm going in, to see like what are the systems that we can be putting in place to really try to mitigate that response as much as possible. Oh, that's so exciting. Oh, I'm so excited to actually think about that. And here's the real tea, guys. Here's the real tea. When I learned that I was going into the animation department again, because I had been in anim before on Strange World, a little piece of me was like, ah. I was like, back into the fire. Oh Jesus. I was like, I'm scared. I'm tired. I was like, oh my gosh, again. And every person that, they're like, oh, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going back to Anim. What? Like, that's their response. What? Are you kidding me? Are you okay? Like, man, oh my gosh. Like, just they start pouring immediate sympathy. And yet, here is God being like, baby girl, this is your mountain. This is how you grow. This is how you climb. Oh my gosh. This is your opportunity. I'm going to leave you with this. What opportunities in your life are you kicking the ground about? And why? I was kicking the ground about this because I was like, I'm tired. I've worked so hard. I would like a break. But God is here presenting this opportunity, holding me, saying, you are strong. You are capable. You are chosen. You are destined for greatness. How do we make greatness? Diamonds are only made from pressure. You are blessed to have the pressure. I'm gonna stop preaching to y'all today, but in the next episode, we'll talk about what I did after the fact to really pull myself out of the mud, how we actually got out of survival mode. Because looking back and seeing what I would do differently does not equate to how I actually got out of it now. So, y'all be blessed. Sorry that I I can't even apologize because I prayed before I started recording this and I was like, God, let your will be done. Like, use me. And he did and continue to. Thank you, Jesus. Y'all have a blessed day. Bye.